That was crazy. Greetings, Wanderer. This is Atlas here, and welcome to the Void. Today I'm going to be reacting and breaking down a song called The Rumble of Scientific Triumph from the Made in Abyss Down of Deep Soul original soundtrack. This is one of the coffee personal requests that I had scheduled, and this one comes from AP. And the comment says, "Hey Atlas, I was debating between songs from several different sources, but ultimately decided on The Rumble of Scientific Triumph from the Made in Abyss Down of Deep Soul original soundtrack. It's the boss theme for Bondrewd, one of the best, if not the best villains I can think of any medium. Enjoy, mate." Well, thank you very much, AP, for your request and, of course, your incredible support. All right. I'm a little bit puzzled here because you're saying that this is the boss theme for Made in Abyss. I was under the impression that this was an anime because I've done 2 breakdowns from this anime before, but maybe this is a video game or made. Of course, from the anime. So I'm not entirely sure, but it's not like it's a big deal, obviously. I have broken down 2 songs previously from this particular soundtrack, or at least the anime, in case this is a video game soundtrack. And I did Tomorrow from the anime, and Transcendence and Hanaziv also from the anime. By the way, I gotta say that Transcendence and Hanaziv has been one of my favorite songs that I have broken down on this channel. It's a fantastic song, okay? So if you want to check those reactions / breakdowns down, I'm gonna leave them in this card right here, but also I'm gonna leave them in the description of this video, right? But before we begin, I want to invite you to listen to my newest track, which is a BERSERK inspired track called Conceived in Blood. And it's actually the song that you have been listening in the background of the intro of this video. So if you like the song so far and would like to listen to the full song, I'm going to leave it in this card right here. But also it's going to be in a link in the description of this video, right? So with that said, onward. All right. This is going to be The Rumble of Scientific Triumph from Made in Abyss. And boom. Very foreboding intro. Some sort of saturation. I wonder what language is this. A lot of accents. The low end is so mean. Okay, made a transition there. It's always this in it. It's great. That was crazy. Okay, this song was really good, alright? And I really like that he did these chord progressions with a very accent-oriented chord progressions, but he did it in patterns that were odd patterns, you know? I don't think it necessarily has like very complex time signatures, but maybe some syncopation in some of the accents and like placing the accents on the beat, but displacing them in weird places and stuff like that. But we're going to be talking more in depth about those things in the breakdown, so let's break it down. Okay, so I would like to open this breakdown by mentioning basically one of the most, or the most quintessential characteristic that this composition has, which to me it seems like, you know, fairly obvious, and it is that it's not like a traditional orchestral composition, but it's actually a hybrid in between, you know, organic elements and synthetic elements. We have synthesizers and you know, some orchestral parts too. It's very balanced, I would say, in the terms of what's synthetic and what's organic, and this is another of those wonderful instances in which it works, you know. I like a lot when composers do this, like they go outside of the box, because for years and years and years, you know, we have had orchestral music being like the default, I don't know, go, let's say, in terms of original soundtracks for movies, for not so much for video games, I would say, although that's the case too, but you know, since the film industry came before the video games, of course, that created some sort of zeitgeist legacy in that case, let's say, into assuming that most of the media that we hear apologies, that we consume has orchestral an orchestral soundtrack. But obviously that changed drastically, especially in the 80s and so on and so forth, with horror movies that couldn't afford, hiring an orchestra for the original soundtrack, and they started using synthesizers. Like John Carpenter is a very good example of that. But I'm not gonna go that tangent. What I'm just trying to say is that I really like when composers have that liberty, because sometimes it's not it's the end word, the final word is not for the composers to have sometimes, but sometimes they have the freedom to do what they want, and it would seem to me that the composer of this track or Made in the Abyss in general has that freedom and their liberty, because he's actually mixing the synthetic elements with organic elements. Of course, being said, the synthetic elements, the synthesizers, and the organic elements, the orchestral parts, the orchestral sections, the brass section, the percussion section, and the string section, of course. So yeah, that's one of my favorite things in terms of listening to an orchestral piece. That I could say that it's like this track is like 60 organic, 40 synthetic at the beginning, but then throughout half of the song and on, it kind of switches a little bit here and there. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the dynamics in the tension of the song, okay? Because this song is heavily has a lot of accents, it's very pounding, it's ground pounding. You feel like you're being punched a lot of times, which of course I would presume that would be the intent of the composer in this case. Very heavy accents with all the instruments, indulging in it in a very cool way. But the thing about the tension of the song is that we hear that the intro is very, of course, it's extremely tamed. It doesn't give you any. Let me rephrase this. It gives you the feeling, or you kind of figure out that, well, this is going to be like a more tamed song or whatnot. But then the song explodes completely, right? And starts with the heavy accents. From the very beginning of the song, you get this explosion of energy. So of course the tension builds, has like a peak in there, but then it starts to the tension starts going down. It releases the tension as you progress in the song, but then goes to a tamed part again, and then it retakes the whole explosive energy that it has. So this song is very radical in its changes, and that's probably the arrangement that the composer felt the song needed for the situation where the song is happening. Of course, very drastic. The changes are very drastic. The build-ups are within the song, as you progress in the song, are less drastic as in comparison to what we hear, as the transition in between the intro and the beginning of a song, let's say. Very drastic changes, a lot of burst of energy. I really like the pattern that the composer did in terms of the arrangement of the heavy accents that he did in the using everything that he has at his disposal, in his arsenal, let's say, using the percussion along with the bass and the brass and the string section, everything combined to make this super explosive wall of sound. I really enjoyed that. And there is another thing that I found very interesting is that, like I said before, the song hits, it's a heavy hitter, let's say, because there's a lot of accents. But the song is very well balanced in terms of where the instruments are situated. Although I would say that the low end of the song is extremely, devastating. It sounds super massive and super big. It's certainly like one of the highlights of the song, I would say. But the curious thing is that, you have this insanely massive foundation in the percussion and the bass, but like in the mid-range or towards the mid to higher range, because it's a children choir and therefore their voices are in a fairly higher register than an adult, I would say. You have the children choir, but on top of that, you have these very sparkly synthesizers, So it's like the building blocks to create like a very balanced, construction. You build a house, you have the foundation, you have the middle structure, let's say, and the roof. The roof will be like those sparkly synthesizers, and the middle to the top will be the children choir, and of course you have this massive foundation that, trust me, if there's an earthquake, that house is not going to crumble. I assure you that, because one of the things that I can't figure out about the song, so I'm gonna put it into examples, okay? I'm not really sure if the low end, meaning the bass specifically, because we have the percussion too there, but I'm going to talk about the bass specifically. I'm not sure if the orchestral bass or the contrabass is saturated, or the composer is doing like a layer of two basses, like one bass that is a synthetic bass, a synth bass that is actually saturated, and under that is the organic bass. I am torn in between those two. I can't really tell. Maybe if I listen to the song a little bit more, I can figure it out. But it's either one of. It sounds to me like it's either one of those situations. Now, to finalize my comment, I want to talk about how the composer arranged the song in terms of the chord progressions and the accents, landing on the beats of the measures and so on and so forth. But the thing is, I did mention syncopation when I finished listening to the track, but I'm not really sure if there is syncopation or not, because most of the chords that I hear, or the notes that I hear in the song that are that are landing, like most of them are landing on the beat. I was trying to carry the count, and there were some instances in which I thought there was some syncopation in it, meaning that the accents don't land in the beat of the measure, but they land either before or after the beat. In this case, I think I heard it before the beat, but I'm not really sure if I lost count, if it was my mistake and just all the accents are landing on a beat. But the thing is that maybe this is a time signature thing, or the patterns of the accents are very peculiar, because you can be in a 4x4 measure, but if you start moving the accents in other weird ways, then it's hard to keep like the rhythm of it. I'm not really sure if I'm translating my thoughts well, but I would invite you to listen to the track again and try to keep the rhythm of the patterns, the patterns of the accents. Try to keep up with them, and like see if you can figure them out. Like if you can say like, well, in the next measure, in the next part of a song, it's going to be the same pattern because it changes drastically along the track. So maybe this is a time signature thing, or it's just a 4x4 all the time, but the accents are not in an easy to figure out pattern, so to speak. Let's say. Maybe this is a time signature thing. Apologies, but I'm really bad at figuring out time signatures, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay. So yeah, I really enjoyed this track. I really liked the whole low end arrangements that we have, the very heavy accents that we have along the song, and the patterns of it are super crazy. But certainly the thing that I liked the most, yes, was the foundation, the whole foundation of the track. You know, the drum samples, the percussion, and the way all the instruments, you know, intertwine each other to make this song super heavy pounding, you know, with the accents. And the bass with the saturation thing going on, it was an incredible touch. I do wonder if this song, apologies, if the boss of this anime or video game or whatnot is like a robot or something, or has to do with some sort of high-tech, you know, theme within him. Because as I watched the picture in the video, he seems to be like this very high-techy kind of lad. All right, so it makes sense to me in this particular song that it's not just an orchestral song, but it also has these elements of synthetics, you know, of synthesizers, because that's the part that is, let's say, the part of the storytelling of his character that is translated in the song, which is obviously, if this lad is like a lad that comes from outer space, or he's a very tech-oriented lad, you know, he's like a scientist or an engineer that has this incredible manipulation of technology and whatnot, then yeah, synthesizers is the way to go. All right, so I think I'm gonna give this track a golden badge. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and share it with your friend. Also, please don't forget to visit my Patreon, my Ko-fi profile, and my Ko-fi store in case you want to support my work further, and my Teespring merch shop. And of course, ex nihilo nihil fit.